Well, Kittel & Co should be sprinting at the end of today's stage, and the middle of the stage probably. For everyone else, it's 178 fairly benign kilometres through the Dordogne countryside. The intermediate sprint comes at the 121 kilometre mark, in between two fourth category hills, and the one at the finish will be complicated by a couple of left-hand turns in the final kilometre. 180 men left in the race now, 4 crashes, 1 other abandon and 7 men outside the time limit on stage 9. Rafał Majka didn't start this morning because of his injuries in the same crash that brought down Geraint Thomas. Wanted Group Gobert's João Alfredo was the first man to attack when the flag dropped. Also the only man, and here's the moment he realised it. His natural inclination to sit up was countered by what I suspect was a voice in his ear from the team car telling him to get on with it regardless, and he was eventually joined by one other rider, Elie Gesbert of Fortuneo Ascaro, the very first man we saw down the ramp in the time trial all those years ago in Dusseldorf on stage 1. The main field waved the Machiri goodbye and set their sat-navs for some sightseeing and chateau shopping. The first action came approaching the intermediate sprint in San Ciprián.
10k to go for Elie Gesbert and for João Alfredo. And the peloton are holding them at around about 18 seconds. A series of roundabouts which divides the peloton in two, and nerves beginning to jangle, and even amongst the big GC teams and the sprinters teams. Just a temporary fright there, a kilometre or so further back down the road for Fabio Aru, as it looked like he touched the wheel and just bounced on his bike. The adrenaline will be rushing. It's been such a quiet, soporific kind of a day, but all along this big bunch sprint has been hanging like a dark cloud over the race, because you know it's coming, there's no way of avoiding it, and it is the most stressful part of the bike race.
Yeah, it really is, and it's mainly because there are so many people with vested interest in it here. The GC, as you're seeing on the front, that's a GC safety race being ridden. They're not at all interested in the sprint. They just want to keep Chris Froome up the front, where there's less chances of something bad happening, because he's only got 4 riders in front of him, 5 now Vermaet, and they're all his teammates. Whereas the further back you go, obviously there's more riders in front of you, more chances of something happening, like normally a crash. And until they get to that 3 kilometre safety zone, where if they do get caught in a crash, they won't lose time. There's a serious amount of stress from both the GC teams and the sprinters teams. Yeah, you can see they're coming in now. Look at this. The width of this road doesn't help. The reason for that just means all the teams can get organised. There's about 8 different trains going on, all in different places. And you can see in the riders at the back, a lot of them just can stop pedalling at times, because it is so much easier at the back there, and it's not dangerous, it hasn't got corners, it's not narrow.
Yep.
It's only when they're going to get into, let's see, it's just before 5Ks is a right-hander, 3Ks is a right-hander, a little bit technical there, not much, right, but then it's in the last K with those 2 90-degree left-handers.
Yep.
So we're going to have a massive lead-out into that 1 kilometre to go, because they're all going to want to be positioned perfectly for that first left-hander.
So once again, David, it looks like Quick-Step Floors are trying to leave it late, which is in one way the sensible thing to do, because you won't be burning your energies right at the front of the peloton, as Lotto Soudal seem to be doing at the moment. So they still have Vermaet marking them up at the front for Quick-Step Floors, but the rest are playing that slightly high-risk strategy. There they are again, those clutch of blue jerseys, of leaving it a bit late.
But you see Lotto do such a genius ride here. They're trying to keep him on one side. Lars Bakker is that first Lotto Soudal rider. He hasn't touched the wind yet. He's staying up the front without actually going into the wind, as they just give themselves a little celebrate, congratulatory commiseration fist bump.
There we go. Gesbert has done his due penance, and Alfredo, well, they've worked well together, but that was always going to happen. The catch has been affected with less than 7 kilometres to go, and now, as you say, David, big wide roads, and all the width of the roads is being used as several different teams move to the front. Direct Energie have Adrien Petit sprinting, but other than that, there's a GC field to the front of the peloton right now.
So Lotto, again, are doing very, very smart riding. Lars Bakker was hit the front there for a bit, but up to now, they've got to this point of the race, 6.5 kilometres to go, they've only used 1 rider up.
Yeah.
Now, that's the same for Quick-Step, they've only used 1 rider, and Cofidis and Katusha. So, hence why they share the workload. They make an agreement at the beginning of the race that they'll all contribute to the long, day-long chase, because it benefits all of them. What I was saying before, sometimes it's better to call bluff on that and force another team to put 2 or 3 riders in to wear down their lead out, because now we've got a team like Quick-Step who's still pushing on. You can see that, but Lotto is using that Quick-Step rider. Look on the side, the left-hand side of the screen. Yep. Lotto is still using other teams. Now, Direct Energie have moved up the front slightly there. Not too sure why. Team Sky still riding the GC race, just leading the sharp points of the peloton there, right at the front, in the middle, trying to just keep Chris Froome as safe as possible for as long as possible. But a quick step.
Sorry, David, just caught a flying glimpse there of the Dimension Data train as well. With they're on the left-hand side of the road, about 30th place. There's the white and green helmet of Scott Thwaites that you can just glimpse from time to time. He has got also Reinhard Janse van Rensburg and Edvard Bosenhagen, and they, a bit like Quick-Step, are playing it cool at the moment, and they're not on the front.
Yes, it's a long way out for Lotto Soudal to be on the front. They've been riding a very clever tactical game to now. They're all fabulously positioned, but 5.5 Ks to go. That's too far out really for a lead out, unless you've got some serious horsepower, which they do. And I guess if Adam Hansen, who I think is on the front there, if he's starting, he feels that they can do it. But that's going to mean, because once you get to this point's in a lead out, the turn to do on the front is very hard to rotate. You enter into doing what we call peel-offs, in that you just go as hard as you can for as long as you can, but you control it. There you go, Hansen's just looking behind him. So they're going to they must now try and rotate for those 3 kilometers in order to save the rest of the team. So it'll just be Lars Bak, I think, and Adam Hansen will do the work. So 2 riders now. So now it's their job is to take the final lead-out train as far as possible.
BMC with 3 riders on the front there, on the left-hand side of the road in the red and black, and the white and red kits now moving to the front. In the middle of the road is Katusha Alpecin. They've got Alexander Kristoff in the closed helmet. You can see the 5th of those riders in line. Direct Energie in the black and yellow, right in the middle of the folder, working for their deputy sprinter Adrien Petit, who they're backing for today's finish. The big, rangy Frenchman. You can see him there with, again, a closed aero helmet. Meanwhile, Lotto Soudal still have the right-hand side of the road, and still Lars Bak and Adam Hansen are the riders doing the work at this point. Now they swing into the middle and guided right the way back instantly to the right-hand side of the road.
Just telling him on the back, see, just talking on the radio, telling him hold the right. So normally now Lars Bak's pulling off, must be a roundabout or something.
Yeah, there is a right-hander coming.
So they're going to they're trying to now take the road. Keeps looking behind Lars Bak, just making sure that all his job's done now. So he can't do any more. So now it's up to Adam Hansen to do as much as he can. Now we're entering into peel-offs. So he'll only go as far as he can, as fast as he can. Now he'll just peel off, and it's up to the next guy.
Swings round with 4 kilometres to go. Now is a straight section of road. At 3K, they hit another roundabout, and then they go right-handed up and over the bridge, over the Dordogne, and instantly right-handed again, and then it lines itself up with 2.5K to go. That's the situation, and there Lotto Soudal have absolute control over the front, but Katusha want to make this a battle between Christoph's team and Greipel's team. Where are the blue jerseys of Quick-Step Floors? Not there at the moment.
And once again, we're seeing that the Quick-Step have a very different start. There you go. There's Adam Hansen done. So now Andre Greipel has 4 riders in front of him, 4 riders, 3.4 Ks to go. So ideally, he's still got to go with 400 meters to go for the final thing. So that means 3 riders are going to have to do 3 Ks. That's 1 K each. Now, that's an enormous ask. And unless there's very few riders that can do that, and they have to be pure specialists, big time trial engines. And I don't think they're going to do that, which means they're probably going to swamp. Hence why you've got to start this as late as possible. Quick-Step, although scattered, they could be doing the best tactic if they can pull it together, but it's something that's high-risk policy.
OK, they're through 3 kilometres to go. That's good news for the GC teams. There are no accidents and no crashes before that point. They have swung right-handed through that roundabout now. This takes them over the Dordogne. They'll hit a roundabout on the other side of the bridge, and they'll go right-handed again with 2.5 still remaining. Direct Energie have an awful lot of belief in their sprinter today. They're in the middle of the road in the black and yellow kits, riding for Adrien Petit, and Lotto Soudal still have 4 riders to use, and then Andre Greipel is finally exposed. A big show of strength from a dominant sprinter's train, but look out for the big race favourite in the green jersey. We're looking for, there he is now, finally. Fabio Zabattini is all that he's got left. Just his lead up.
There's Stibar in front of him.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, with the
2 riders left. But look, Lotto's still holding together. He's got to make it to 2 Ks to go this right in front. There he goes. And now the next one. So the peel-offs really are beginning now.
Barney Merida hit the front with Sonny Colbrelli in mind, but Lotto Soudal want them off the front. They want to restore, and a little bit of bumping between Katusha and Lotto Soudal as Christoph and Greipel line their troops out or down on the front. And still, the green jersey of Marcel Kittel is playing it cool.
This is perfect for Lotto. They have other riders slotting in, so they're almost adding to the Lotto train. So Greipel's still in prime place. Nasser Buhani's on his wheel. Just behind him is Stibar, and he's got and Kittel's just behind there. So all the big sprinters are up there so far.
Dan McClay visible as well. That white jersey, I should stay in about 10th place. He's got 1 lead-out man there as well. So Nasser Buhani in the black helmet and the red kit is in about 10th place.
Kittle's right. I mean, you've seen Kittle does such a different style. You're just using one. We've seen Mark Cavendish use that style a lot in the past. Just use one rider. There goes Seabird now for Lotto Soudal. They're entering into the final phase. Seabird's just trying to use other riders as much as you can. See the big, tall, red jersey of Lotto Soudal. Behind there's Nassir Bouhanni's just behind him, I think.
OK, so that's now Adrien Petit who's done his bit, so he's not the sprinter. It's actually going to be Thomas Boudard, but that's disastrous for Direct Energy. They've exposed their sprinter right at the front of the race. He's going to have to find another wheel now, Boudard, if he can at all. Meanwhile, Katusha with Alexander Kristoff take the Flamme Rouge. 1 kilometre to go. Rick Zabel leads Alexander Kristoff into the final phase of this race. Now, watch out. The first of the big left-handers is this one here, 90-degree bend. The next one just a couple of 100 metres away. Lotto Soudal on the front. Where's Greipel? Bouhanni's placed in about 4th position. And now Fabio Zavattini in the blue kit there, trying to look for the green jersey. There it is, Kittel in pole position. The next big left-hander, though, is absolutely key, and here it comes.
Oh, it's Kittel's chosen Edvard Bersenhagen, I think it is, just in front of him, so Dimension Data are up there again. But look, Nassir Bouhanni's in prime position this time. Kittel's a bit far back, so it was a bit of a risky policy. Greipel now is in perfect position.
This is perfect for Alexander Kristoff and Andre Greipel. They look onto the left-hand side of the road. Where's the green jersey of Kittel? Now comes Dan McClay with the beard. Great ride from the British rider. McClay hits the front. It's McClay and Kittel. Kittel and McClay. Kittel's going to take this. Can anyone get on terms with him? Another dominant display from the great German sprinter who cruises to his 4th win on the Tour de France. Kittel is totally unbeatable. When he gets it right, he is head and shoulders the best sprinter left on the Tour de France.
Wow, he was so far back. We could just see when he started up his sprint, it was dominant. Look how far back he is. He's further back than all of the other sprinters. Look at the rider behind. John Denkolb's on his wheel. And now you see the difference, just how fast he is. When he kicks now, look at the difference in speed. Just comes flying by Dan McClay. He did a great sprint. Denkolb, just trying to hold his wheel, is getting dragged to 2nd place.
Dylan Groenewegen just getting past Dan McClay there, and Groenewegen almost getting on terms with Degenkolb. That's the winning margin. He coasts over the line. Degenkolb will pick up a heartening 2nd place for Trek Segafredo, but his compatriot on this form is untouchable. 4 wins, extending his lead in the green jersey competition. He takes the congratulations of his teammate Dan Martin, who is flying on this Tour de France as well. Those 2 riders have had a wonderful tour when we are only 10 stages in.
And in previous tours where he's won multiple stages, Marcel Kittel has finished with a win in Paris, so he looks well on course to equal or perhaps pass Mark Cavendish's 6-stage wins of 2009. There's the result, Marcel Kittel with a cast of people behind him. John Degenkolb got closest, which is to say not very close. Dylan Groenewegen was 3rd. Dan McClay kicked things off early and finished 7th.
I just tried to stay on the outside because I know and actually go in a little bit slower, because I know most people go in a bit hot and run wide and come out slow. And actually I came out really good on Kittel's wheel, but with a little bit more speed. And I've been so annoyed at myself for waiting. I just went so long and died a death, you know. Like, started with 3:50 to go, and it's always going to be too long, but at least for once I'm not kicking myself for waiting too long. In hindsight, it was pretty stupid to leave a guy's wheel, to leave a wheel like Kittel, you know. But yeah, at the same time, at least I played my cards, and actually the legs are okay. Just anyone going with 3:50 to go is too long, you know.
That's the Kittel effect, though. Such is his dominance in this tour that people are trying to mix things up because they know a straight race is hopeless. For the other jersey wearers, today was a rolling extension of the rest day. Matt spoke to the best young rider.
Simon Yates, so as a reintroduction to racing after your rest day, how was that?
Yeah, it was great. Cruisy final, beginning, and then a little bit of stress in the final, but nothing too serious. Just trying to stay out of trouble there. For sure, it helped with a bit of the headwind there in the finish, slow all these fast guys down a bit. So, yeah, stayed out of trouble, which is the main thing, and yeah, on to tomorrow.
You're wearing one of the jerseys, which means you start the race towards the front, well, at the front. Do you see the breakaway formation there? I mean, one rider gets away and then it's all blocked, and then a rider like Stefan Kung, we know how good he is, tries to get away, and I hear there's all sorts of abuse thrown at him because, you know, the sprint teams don't want a big, strong rider like him out there.
Yeah, I guess I think it's already gone, and I think it's going to be an easier day if there's only one guy there. For sure, if someone like him goes up the road, it's going to be more difficult. A big engine like him, for sure, they're going to have to chase hard. So I don't know exactly what happened there, but yeah, for sure they won't let me go so easy.
And when the one guy does go out on his own, and maybe if he's lucky someone gets across to him, are you sitting in the back thinking, "Oh, you poor sod"?
It depends. On a day like today, it was beautiful roads. It wasn't like a super long stage, you know. Then the last time we had an even longer day when the one guy was on his own there. But yeah, I think he had some company today, so that was okay.
Chris Froome enjoyed the same easy ride Simon Yates did and got the same Matt Rendell treatment at the end of it.
How was it for you? Was it another happy one where you could swan around and chat to your mates?
Not exactly. I mean, it was quite relaxed as far as Tour de France flat stages go. Another good day just to have out of the way now, and I guess next big goal for us is to focus on the Pyrenees. So one more flat day tomorrow, and then we head up into the climbs again.
And that means one more chance for Marcel Kittel to take a stage and pad his green jersey lead, already now over 100 points.
Marcel, you seem to be in a league of your own. That must be how it feels.
Yeah, it's incredible. I can't really believe it. I don't really have words for what is happening here. I'm so proud. It's amazing. It's also important to know that it's teamwork. It's the job of a whole team that makes those victories possible. And I'm very thankful to get this support.
And you've also spoken, obviously, at this Tour de France, starting in Germany, about the renaissance of German cycling. 3 Germans in the top 4. I guess that's even more to celebrate, even if they're rivals and they want what you've got.
I think that just shows how strong we are in sprints. I think we're the most successful nation in the last years, and that makes me also proud, of course, and should also make the German fans proud.
Now listen, you say you're lost for words. Let me read you some. Pau, Ramon-sur-Isère, Salon de Provence and the Champs-Élysées. They all look like possible sprint finishes. That's 4 more stages that could just about be within your grasp.
All I know is that tomorrow is another sprint chance, and that's what I will have as a goal.